What do we got? What do we got? Haven't been on here in quite some time, but I'm back taking some trades, doing some stuff. You know how it is. Life is just what it is. So I'm actually sitting in three trades right now. Let's go ahead and go down to the 4 hour or up to the 4 hour because I was just on the 5 minute. Let me shrink myself down a little bit. That way, oh, wow, really small. Put myself in the corner. So odd NZD, just sitting in this trade here. Looks like he just it's just a sell. So 4 hour price broke out of this level right here. I came up, retest, pushed down. We're back up into this area again. I'm going to hold it a little bit longer and see. I have an alert right above this zone. So if price does break up into this area, I'll probably hedge up into this zone here. Currently already planned out anyway. My absolute like this is not going to work out is all the way up here in the 1.086 area. So I got room to play with. No biggie there. If we can come back down to this zone here, which is just a small little area, price could possibly bounce at right there. If we can come down here, then it'll be roughly about a 1-to-1. So not too concerned with that. I also had an alert here as well. So if price actually comes down here and I take a look and see how price is doing, if I start getting rejection, I'll probably close it here because this could be a place where the price decides to bounce up. Why would I want to play with that to begin with? So that's odd NZ. That's the only one that is not hedged as it sits right now. GBUSD, I was taking a buy off of this zone right here, waiting for price to break up there. It didn't close really strong on a 4 hour candle. And so I ended up getting hedged here. Price eventually came back up. This is where I was down on the 5 minutes. It was in a I think I was this morning in a Discord or a Zoom chat, Zoom meeting. There we go. In a Zoom meeting with Nick and the rest of the group. And he was talking about how when generally you see a strong push down of price like this and you get a hesitation, price will generally push down again. And so he was like, this would be a good area to get in. I believe he got in as well. So I actually got in as well as soon as price broke around this area. Why it's way down here, I don't know. I do know because technically I've been adjusting this on the 4 hour and it gets really wonky when you come down to the 5 minutes. Even so as soon as price broke down this way, was expecting price to continue down at least to somewhere down in this area, but it didn't. And so now we're getting a pullback. I had already hedged it. So after that big, strong 4-hour candle was starting to complete and come down really strong, I went ahead and hedged and then just took another position as a completely separate trade with Nick in the group for that area. Ended up closing that out as soon as price came up into this area. I did have like an alert somewhere a little bit above here. So as soon as price broke back into here, I closed out. I was hoping everything would just funnel down and we'd be good with that. So now I'm just sitting in hedged. I think this was like a $3 loss. I can actually look right now. Yeah, it was like $4. A $4 loss here. So all in all, I think all in all, the overall position is like a $40 position for the entirety of this position here. So this is a $40 position. If price makes a new high and comes up here and retests this, that'll be a $40 win. But I'm actually managing it much closer to the chest as price develops. So I'm not looking to take a full $40 loss as things go. Next area that I would be looking at as price comes down is we can possibly see a bounce here. I'll take another position here as a buy. If that buy works out, then I'll close that one at a smaller loss, win on the buy, close the sell. They'll went out of order, but basically I'll close this hedge sell down here, enter another buy with a nice invalidation a little bit below here. If price comes up, even if it comes up halfway, which with the way that price has been channeling up, I will more than likely try to keep this buy all the way at least back up to my previous buy, only because the way I see it is if we have this nice little trend here, this is the last point that made this higher high. So if price is really going to stay in this uptrend, it shouldn't be breaking or violating to a certain degree this point right here. So if you look past it, back in the past when price generally tends to change trends, you'll end up getting a bounce down into these areas here, the last higher low that it was at, and then usually coming up for either a double top or a lower high before continuing down. And so with that, that gives me enough room to win on the sell, get into a buy, and possibly do even better than just break even on the two buys. So that is currently what I'm looking at, and that's my current plan. I'll adjust that plan as price shows me something different. So I mean, if price comes into this area and just steamrolls through it, well, obviously that plan's out of commission, and I'll have to readjust. Which my readjustment level's back down here. We've had a nice little area where it's been respected before, came in, tested as support twice, and this will be a nice fresh test from a really long period of being away from it. So if it comes down here, we can expect a smaller bounce. Will I get a bounce enough to cover this? More than likely. And so I could walk away from this from possibly break even though I didn't even get in right to begin with. So that's GBP USD. Euro USD, same thing. I was waiting for a bounce. Price had broken up above here, got into this here. Price bounced up a little before finally cracking through. This big 4-hour candle was nice and bearish. And I'm like, okay, no, but looks like price is going to continue down. So I went ahead and hedged it right there. And then now I'm just waiting for price to come down here. We roughly get the same thing as we do on GBP USD, where we have an area that price has bounced at before, and we could possibly see a bounce. I have an alert in this area here. That's where roughly I'll be closing my sell, depending on how strong it comes into this level. If it's a huge, candles like that, I'll leave it alone because I have no idea what's going to happen. I want to see some pause of some sort or a rejection. I'll even take a rejection before I decide to close out. I'm saying this out loud so that way, hopefully, when things actually happen, I'll actually stick to that and not get a little bit either greedy or fearful. You see those blue numbers appearing in your MT4, and you're like, I want to take that profit while I still can. And then a plan happens out. The worst thing for me is to have this plan, as I've just said. I don't stick to the plan, and it plays out exactly the way I was ready to plan for, which means I could have made off with a whole lot more, or I could have been better off than I was because I was ready to take profit or afraid for whatever reason. So trading, psychology, it's a never ending thing that you've got to master, and I'm still trying to master it. So those are the three trades that I'm currently in right now. Everything's been going pretty well. That's a little bit different. We'll talk about that in a second. If you've been following along with anything that's been happening, I was in negatives for a little while, and that's slowly been chipping away. This is still off of the $500 account. The other $500 account, or $400 something $500 account, has been up to 1,000. I haven't touched it yet. My plan was to go flat across the board on all of these accounts and then combine them into one and then start working from there. And unfortunately, trades keep happening, and so I keep getting into them. I'll more than likely sometime within this week or next week just go ahead and consolidate those accounts and start working from a higher capital account, somewhere around like $1,500. The $500 accounts are good. The downside that I generally find with these $500 accounts is sometimes on these looking for the daily, and I've been jumping down to the 4-hour only because I do need smaller invalidation zones. I need smaller position sizing areas because if I don't, then what I end up doing when I go to the position size calculator, on some of these where the stop loss is 100, 200 pips, 0.01, the lowest you can go through CoinEx that I have is still like 40 something dollars or something like that. 40, 50, 60 bucks. And then so if I'm only trying to do a certain percentage, I have to hard either lowball it or highball it on either way. And I just don't feel comfortable with that. And so because of that, some of my trades have actually been like lowballed, where I should have won a much higher amount. But because my position sizing was smaller and I didn't feel comfortable going bigger, I didn't win as much either. And so so that's that. So trying to have a bigger account could just give me a little bit more flexibility on my position sizing. And so anybody who's trying to grow I know at some point in time, people talked about like just put $100 in an account and go with that. $100 is great if you're looking to do smaller time frames with smaller stop losses. But you got to weigh the pros and cons of that, because on the smaller time frames, spreads really come into play on that. As it sits right now, these aren't the actual spreads that I have through my broker, but as it sits right now on a daily, looks like we're sitting at that won't work. Let's look at this guy. Spreads are sitting at, oh, that's actually pretty low. I don't know why it looks so high here. It shouldn't, because at 0.04, that's not what that is. Yeah, according to that, that's like 73 pips. Maybe it's because we're so far on the daily, none of my icons overlap. Even that's 5 pips between the ask and the bid. So I don't know. I don't know what that problem is. No, it's better. Yeah, 0.5. So yeah, that's right. So somewhere down on the 1 minute, it looks accurate. Up here, it looks huge, but it's really not that big. So, Oanda spreads through here seem to be fine. The only thing you worry about is the leverage. You don't get really high leverage here. So you got to be very, very selective with those trades. But when you start looking here at GJ, this is a 5 pip spread on GJ, according to forex.com. Well, if you're going for, 15, 20 pips, that's a quarter of your spread is a quarter of what your target is. And so that, could it work? Yes, absolutely. You just got to find something that actually works for you, which is why forward testing is important. Because yes, everything may work in hindsight, but you need to forward test to make sure, number one, that the broker that you have is beneficial to you. Like you don't get stuck with commissions, swap fees, things of that nature. The spreads are good enough for you that they're not eating into your profits. Because if you are a little bit above profitable, and you can slowly compound accounts, in back testing, but then you get to the real world and those profits are eaten up by spreads and commissions, well, then you end up beating your head against the wall because you aren't as profitable as you were in back testing. And so it's important to find out things like that and to continuously work through them and actually take those into account as you're going through in your testing, to make sure that everything is as accurate as possible, so that you know whether or not you're profitable. Because you can be profitable in back testing, but in the real world, you all of a sudden hit all these other things that you didn't think about, and things of that nature. You start off with $100 account on the daily, and all of a sudden, instead of having a $5 risk, because that's what you feel comfortable with, every single trade's $20. It's 4 times what you were comfortable with, only because the lot size can't go any lower. And so just got to be mindful of that. Other than that, I'm sitting here waiting for a couple other alerts to go off and see where things are at. I don't think anything is currently active. I have not actually gone through and looked to see what is going on. Was waiting for a break and retest there. Let's see what we got going on here. I originally had a bounce here, but I don't feel comfortable with that, only because of, we've had these downtrends here, and then really, in looking at this is one huge bounce that has never been touched before, at least not in recent history. And so it's like, really, how much confidence do I have in that level? I don't. And so what I actually am waiting for is for this to go ahead and flip flop and become a break and retest, and then I'll look to take a sell from there. These zones are still fine. You had a bounce here, then a break, and we've never had a retest here. This zone is once again a little bit more relevant because I've had a test, and so like to come back here, I can probably expect at least some sort of reaction, or I might get a bounce. So currently waiting for that guy. That one's going to take a little while to play out. Never actually got into this one because it never actually went deep enough for me. I wanted to come down to these lows down here, all the way down in here before I decided to get in. Looks like price is leaving without me, which is completely and totally fine. My next plan, though, is once price gets up here to go ahead and take the sell. I will actually watch that carefully. Only because we've now had a low and a higher low. And if this is going to keep going, we could end up with a higher high, which is, once again, is fine because I have another level up here I could work with. As far as if I had to hedge the other side, then I could just work with that and I should expect some sort of reaction out of here. So I don't know. I'll still probably look at that. So that's the current plan there. Odd USD. Nothing good here. I think I marked this up on my phone. I don't generally like to do that, but I do that from time to time only because I'm not at the charts. So I do have a 4-hour zone that has been broken. If price can get back up in here, it'll be a break and retest of a pretty, I would say pretty significant level within the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe. So we'll see how this one plays out. And if not, you do have some zones to work with on the other side of each one. So that's cool. CAD CHF. CAD CHF I was playing with as well. Had it marked up. I'm like, cool, let's see. Price had actually come up deep enough into this level. I'm like, I'm comfortable enough that if price were to break and close high enough, I'd be able to work it up there. Price came down. Here would have been a management level. Never actually got into this trade though. It's funny how the trades that you never get into are the ones that seem to work out the best. CAD JPY. Waiting for price to come back into this level here. We've already had a bounce, so I actually might bypass this one. I think I will. Yeah, I think I will. I will bypass this one. I will actually move this zone up here and be very, very careful with this guy because we have a zone up here, but then we also have this zone here. And, if you had to pick one, which one seems to be strong? This one seems to have stronger reactions. This one has a reaction, but if price were to have to go someplace, it's like, and it has to make a stop before it decides to react, I would say it's going to react up there. So I'm going to leave that alone, get rid of this guy. The only thing else I might look at is if price gets above and beyond this. Okay, there we go. Let's do that. So if price gets above and beyond this, we'll take this up here and then take that. I'll do that. Set an alert there. So that'll be my current plan there. Other than that, I won't look for a sell. I will keep this down here. I'll ignore this little wick spike down there and just leave it be. I was waiting for price to come into here, set my alert, never actually got triggered. Price did end up going up. Sometimes you got to miss them. I would hate to take a trade way up outside the zone that I had drawn, because chances are a lot of those don't work out, even though this one did. A lot of them don't. Waiting for price to come back under this level, and that way it gives me that, as well as I got a nice little level up here I could also work with. So like that position for that would look something like this. My invalidation for this trade would be way up here someplace, and I'd probably look for coming down here and possibly trailing it all the way down here. Wow, okay, that's fine. Just go away then. Where was that at? Yeah, CHF JPY. So, that would be a management level that I would look at because price could possibly bounce there. And if it ends up stalling, then I'll just get out. So that's currently what I'm looking at for that. Euro AUD. This would be a trade that I was also tracking. Price did not come down. Price has come up here. I'd be waiting for price to actually hit my alert. We are stalling a little bit. That's kind of interesting, but in the same vein, if we look at this stall, and I'm just trying to jump down to the 1 hour so it's a little bit cleaner. If we look at the way that price is stalling, it's slowly building up, and it looks like it keeps building up steam. So nice little vision, if you could have it. You have the buyers and the sellers, they're fighting. Each time they get to this particular point, the sellers have been pushing this market down, buyers bring it back up, sellers keep pushing it down, buyers bring it back up, sellers push it down. And out of all that, the sellers seem to be weakening. So at some point in time, I expect price to break up out of here and continue up. So if this would have been my original trade. Price would have came down here. I would have looked for, once again, if I was actually managing this or in this trade, then once price got to this area here and I started to see, you know, like wick rejections, you got three, I would have closed the sell, entered a buy, still the same stop loss area. And then when price came down here, in and around here, I probably would have closed, if not halfway. So I would have made profit on the buy on the way up and either took a break even on the two sells or held one sell all the way down and closed the other one roughly around break even. And so that would have been pretty profitable. That would have been nice if it was managed that way. And that would have been the management plan. So I'm okay with this. Even in hindsight, because, well, that's generally what I've been calling to be my management plan. We've talked a second ago about the fact that sometimes I don't wait for price to come all the way down. I'll close at break even though it actually works out the way I had it planned. And you could have made more profit, you know, and so, but either way, it still would have been a profitable trade, whether I closed at break even for the two sells or I held it a little bit longer. I still would have been profitable on the buy on the way up. So that's really the key, is even regardless if I don't get extra profits, to still remain profitable in the long run. EuroCAD. EuroCAD was a fun little game to play last week and a half. I was looking to take another trade here, but then everything was a mess, and I was like, okay, fine, no, I won't worry about it. But this basically would have been the trade coming down here to this zone here. I do have a lower level there. I'm not sure why that one's there. If price broke up and came back down, I'd be looking for a buy to trail it back up, only because of this uptrend that we have going on here. I was waiting for price to come on up. Now that this has curled back down, I won't be looking for that because we look like we're losing steam on this uptrend. So not a big deal there. But currently that's where that's at. I don't like that. That's a mess now. I'm gonna leave that alone. This zone looks pretty good. I'll leave that there. And then I'll actually bring this guy down here. So yeah, that's what I'll work with. If we can get back up above this zone, pretty good amount before we come back in here, I might look to buy and carry it back up to this high. If not, if we can come all the way straight up to this high, I'll look to sell. Euro CHF. Looking to take a trade here that actually pinged. How come I don't have it on my alerts? No idea why I don't have it on my alerts. Are these yep, they're expiring. Oh, that's so annoying. I realized some of my alerts are expiring. And so I'm losing those opportunities, which has been kind of sad. So I'll come back to that in a second. Euro GBP has been ranging quite a bit. So what I'd like, I already have it drawn out. I like to see price break out of this. We're in a downtrend. We've bounced here a few times. We've yet to go any farther than breaking this trend line. So, or any farther to break this trend line. So I am not too concerned with that whatsoever. Euro JPY. I did take a sell from here. Took that just fine. Price came halfway, closed there. What are we waiting on now? Broke out, cool. Up high. So I'd be waiting for a break up, come back down. This actually needs to be cleaned up. I will look to clean this up only because it looks like a mess. That's a good zone there. That's a pretty good zone here. I'll probably, yeah, leave that there and then just work with these guys. Price, for some reason, has not made it all the way down here. It seems to be rejecting at this area here. I mean, those are pretty close zones. I will ignore that. Yep, that'll be that. So we got some time for price gets there. Got some time before price breaks up. We got some go away. Not concerned with that. So that's the overall goal there. Euro NZD. Channeling up into this big area here. I have an alert way high up there. We'll have to see, Because I think we're running, if we go down to the 1 hour, we might be running into that same scenario where we have a bunch of we have an area where price is yet to break through, and we keep having these higher highs that are created. And so it's just a matter of time before price just trails up and breaks this area here. So probably ignore that. Whoa, not completely like that. Let me jump back out here and see what it looks like. See, this is a daily high though. That's nice. But we really haven't had a good, like, we've been close enough. We should have had a reaction. And then once again, we look at the overall picture, and we haven't had a good enough reaction. So if anything, I would probably wait till we actually get a reaction, either break up or break down. And we'll go from there. GPAUD. Was waiting on this price to come up here, come back down, got an alert set there. If not, we got a nice alert all the way up here. So that's pretty clean. I don't need to worry about that one. Here we got another alert that is expired. And then what do we got though? I should have already been in this trade if I was going to get in this trade. So I'm not too concerned about that. Well, I'm not concerned about that. But if I was in this trade, I should have already been in based upon these highs up here. And then possibly close down here. And I would not be looking for a second one because we didn't go down far enough. I would take somewhat of a trade in and around this area. Let's see how this cleans up. Yeah, I would take a trade somewhere down here. So, because then we got a nice little zone down here as well that we could also play with, as well as this lower zone here. So we got plenty of options to work with. GBP looks clean enough. I just need it to do something. Either break up and come back for a retest in this area here. Yep. Or come down to that zone there. So GBCHF, just been playing between these two levels here. We'll see if price can make its way down here. Looks like I should have been in this trade at some point in time because price bounced away. This would have been the second bounce. I really should have been in on the first bounce. Second bounce would have been nice, but I would have had to wait till I got that nice wick rejection there. Because price was up there, I don't think I would have actually looked to get into anything. And so do I have another level to work with? I do. I have this higher level here. So I would have done something like that. So we'd be looking at rejection area somewhere down here. So that would have been it. I probably would have been out by now. So I wouldn't look again for this area here, only because we've made a low, a higher low. This could possibly be another higher low. And now we're just hammering away at this. Well, not really hammering. We got double hits. But if we can come up, I'll look for an entry there. Or really the next thing should be just there. That's just the cleanest. I don't think I would want to play with anything so close within this range here. Although, that's a support area. It's broken, tests resistance. Sure, but we don't have really anything. It was only respected there, disrespected there, completely blown through, respected. I can't trust you. I'm sorry. Go away. JPY. This has been a fun pair to play with. Am I still in this? No, I'm not in this one. This one closed. These are closed. These ones closed. Cancel, not cancel. That was okay. So what do I got? Well, I have a zone here, but we got higher highs, higher lows. Sorry, higher lows. Don't trust this zone anymore. Go away. I got a small little zone here that I can look to get into, and then this higher zone here. I got a lower zone here to work with, and then a really low zone. Down there. This would be the lowest point probably to look at to get some sort of reaction. GPNZD. I was waiting for price to break this, break out of this trend, but it didn't. Price could be coming up here. I do have a idea for taking a trade all the way at this high. Could price break here and then come low? Well, yes, but given the fact that price has been up here before, I don't know. I think I'll wait up here and leave that alone. This never played out, so we can get rid of that guy. These guys never played out. We can get rid of that guy. What am I drawing? Nope, stop it. Go away. So other than that, it's kind of choppying its way up. We have this zone here that we can work with. Yep. And then leave the rest alone. NZD CAD. NZD CAD is coming to this area after it's been a little while. I will look to put this lower though. I would like to see price get as low as it has before looking to get in. I really have nothing to mess with after that. I don't want to get into any of those hedges where they just ride out forever because I really have nothing else to work with after that. I don't know what to do with that one, so I'm gonna leave it alone. I was looking for a buy off of this. Price never came down low enough for that, and now we're just playing around in this zone. Price wicks into the area, bounces away, quickly wicks into the area, and then leaves. Price came down, hovered here. You got some nice, pretty thick candles, which means price stayed in this area, came back up. We did get a wick rejection, but now we got some pretty thick candles once again of price going up and going down, going up and going down in this area. If it was going to leave, it should have left. It should have created some, higher lows and things of that nature, higher lows on this one, but like this one created higher high, lower high on the way down, before finally just funneling away. That's what we need. So I'll probably leave that alone. Do have that up there. We'll work with that. Already played with this one. Is this a dead alert? Yeah, it is. We had to bounce away. Actually, I already took a sell here, buy there, sell. I think this one ended up being profitable. This was NJ. Do you not show me? There we go. Oh no, it was a loss. If that's the one I'm referring to. So break even-ish loss. So I was taking a sell down here, didn't happen, got hedged, closed on the buy in profit, closed on the sell in profit, and then closed this one in drawdown. All in all, -$6. When you figure most of my trades have been about 40, 50, so less than a fourth, right? My number's right. 10th. I don't know how to do math. Okay, don't worry about my math. Either way, it was less than actually losing completely. We'll go with that. Can't be wrong with that one, right? So that's that. Not too concerned with that. That can actually go away. Those aren't valid anymore. This would not be valid. I would actually be waiting for there, because that one's nice. There we go. Yeah. Let's go up high. A break and retest would probably work here as well. So if we can come up here and then go, depending on how that plays out. So I will put one there. And then if we can get a test down to this area here, I will look as well. Yeah, that looks good. NZD USD. Been funneling upward. Now we've finally broken out of that. Great, cool. Can you drop down here so we can get an entry, or go up there? Your choice. I'll let you decide. USD CAD. waiting for a break and retest. Never actually happened. If price comes back into the zone, though, still valid. Why? Because we haven't tested this place in quite some time. Yeah, I don't think I need to clean anything up with that. We'll see once price gets in there and how it reacts. Then I might have to clean things up. But if not, even so, I got this zone up here that's pretty nice to work with. USD CHF is not as clean as it should have been. Was waiting for price to actually push down to this level before coming back for a retest. That never happened. We got some really, oh, that's really shallow. Yeah, that's a really shallow breakout. So technically, you know, like if I had to think about this level here, it would probably go like this now. And so with that being said, I'd want an even lower breakout before I look for a retest. So I'd be looking for something like this. Other than that, what do we got? I'm probably going to use only this level here because this is, when you look here, not as clean anymore. And then this is probably another dead alert. Yep, look at that. Oh, man. I'm definitely going to have to go through each one of these charts and see where these guys are at. This one's not as clean, so I'm going to ignore that one. I do have those highs there. If I had to look for a reaction for something for management purposes, this might be it. So if I were to get in a trade somewhere around here, I'd want my stops up there. This is it if I'm wrong. And then I'll target somewhere down here, seeing how price reacts. But if for some reason price breaks up above here, let's say we get a strong close up this way, and then we get a retest there, I'll hedge there. If it comes back to retest, I'll be able to close the sell, stay in the buy, leave it alone. If not, then and price ends up making all the way its way up here, then as before, close the buy, enter a sell, stop above here, get, hopefully it comes all the way down. If it comes all the way down, close one at break even, the other one in profit, good to go. If you want any information on this, Nick Sean is the place to look. I think he just hit 100,000 subscribers. I think he said thank you on that. I think in his Discord or YouTube, I don't know what, or Telegram, maybe it was Telegram. But thank you, 100,000 subscribers. Good gracious, that is a lot. So, yeah, I understand there are many other YouTubers out there that have a million, but for the niche in this area here, I'm not sure there's a lot of YouTubers. I would say a lot of YouTubers that of his caliber, which are like very, very transparent and honest, you know, to the point that he's like, I sell products, I sell courses, but you don't need them at all. There's plenty of free stuff here, and it's dirt simple, and it really is. You know, like, don't try to overcomplicate it. Find something that looks clear. Like if you had to have somebody who knew nothing about trading come in and go, hey, where does it look like prices just continuously bounced away from with no funny business? Well, they'd come in and go, well, I mean, prices bounced there, there, and here. So cool, there. Oh, here as well. Look, price bounced there and there. Okay, so that's a zone. Price is definitely bounced there. That's a zone. And just leave it. Mark it up and leave it. And I'm gonna put my other zone back there because I like this one too. And then when price gets into the zone, just look, see how it does. If you get like, I'm gonna randomly select the zone. Okay, let's go there. Okay, cool. Some weirdo says, okay, cool, I looked at this chart and that's a zone. Cool. Well, let's look at what price did when it got to that weird zone that I just drew. What do we have? We have price that came up, strong up. That'd probably be the only candle that make you look at this and go, oh yeah, maybe it's reacting. Give it a second. What happens? Nothing. It just funnels right through. This maybe I mean, that's weird. Off of that. Then we get no good. Let's go look at the other zone that actually looked like we had this in the past. Here's an area. We had a small reaction out of that. Okay, cool. But then when price comes back, we do have a reaction there that could have gotten you in. But this is the kind of reaction that I'm looking for. Like we get strong, pretty strong candles up. We get these smaller candles that shows you that strength that pushed you up here is no longer there. And then we get a stronger candle in the other direction. That seems viable. That seems doable. Same thing as price came down in here. We got some strong candles into here. We got some weakness. And then we got another candle after that. Price came up. Now, granted, that would have been a loss. Cool. But it's like, just look for these guys. What do you see from time to time? And really, it all depends on what you're going for. Like price is in this level here. And if this is your zone that you went with, what are you going for? If you're going for a 1-to-1, well, 1-to-1 is there. You would have hit that as soon as it dropped. Are you going to 1-to-2? Well, depending on your management style, you would have hit a 1-to-2 as well. If we looked there, on the other side of the zone, would you have hit a 1-to-1? No, you wouldn't have. Yeah. So, I mean, even if you did 1-to-1s, you would have lost one, win one. You would have won this one too. So you'd be up one. And all you're doing is just looking for clear zones and at this point in time, trying to find some reason that sounds logical enough to be like, yeah, it looks like price is not breaking this zone. And because price is not breaking this zone, there's probably a likelihood it's going to go the other direction. So get in. So just keep it simple. Keep it simple. Control risk. That's what Nick would throw on the end of that one. Keep it simple and control risk. Controlling risk is something that takes time. But if you want to test out the theory, test out the what do you call it? I can't even think of the word now. Just test out the theory. If you want to test out the theory, you can do that all day long. When you draw clear zones and price comes back, how many times does price bounce away? And what does that bounce away look like? If you were to have your oops, I did it again and messed up zone on your exit on the other side of that zone, how often would you have hit your exit versus hit your profit? And do that. Track it all. All right. So that's that. That is all the trades that I'm currently looking at. I'm not really doing gold, but I do have gold marked up. Gold's a different animal. I don't like gold. I lost money on gold, and so I'm not happy with that. Yeah. So you guys have a blessed day. I will probably continue recording whenever price does something. So until then, take it easy. Let me bring back there we go. Be blessed, and I'll talk to you guys later. All right. Well, that's it for the end of the day. I'm going to close up shop. Let anything happens over the night happen, and then we'll hit it back in the morning. Today was a good day. Got to focus on work a lot. Had a lot of things going on, and was able to handle a lot of things without actually having to come back to the chart. So these are still the 3 trades that I'm in, and just let it keep going. All right. You guys take it easy. Be blessed.